So this is a test league because I was trying to put together a league in Race07, and to do that I wanted to see, what the problems were going to be. So I put together an AI league, myself and 9 AI cars. There's only 8 of them in the first race. I don't know what happened to the 10th. But yeah, just to see kind of what the difficulties were going to be, and then the idea would be to make like highlight videos of each race. So I did 4 races for this league, and then just kind of put highlights and stuck them together for one video. So the camera's on me on the TV replay, and then this is something that wasn't supposed to be in the game. It looks horrible. It's a default skin with some marks on it, and this was to test if the template that I was using would work on I can't remember what program. I think I was using Photoshop at the time, and then just kind of stuck it in the game. And because it was default, I accidentally left it in. So I mean, for some reason the game gave it its own driver, and it's literally just called default. And so yeah, I ended up racing against that. And for some reason it was in every race, because even though there was only 9 opponents, because there were more than 9 drivers in the F3000 calendar, it kept putting different ones in for different races, but the default was in every race, so that was like my rival in this. But the difficulty was 86%, so I did manage to get by them, mostly on the straights, because that's where they seem to be slowest. For some reason they've got a lot of grip through the corners, so it doesn't really feel like they're genuine opponents. It's almost like they've got cheats on or something. The 10th was actually on that results page, and it had an average speed, which is weird because on the glitch it just disappeared. It wasn't even on the track, so I have no idea what was going on with that. So the second race in the calendar is Turkey, which used to be in the F1 calendar years ago. I quite like the track, but for whatever reason they just never went back to it. And I managed to spin here, which didn't cost me much time. Fortunately I didn't get any damage. And I was looking for good angles to get replays, which is what I would be doing if I was recording the actual league, because I think that's a big part of the story, is the incidents like that would happen. And the AI here, you can see it really slow, so I just like sail past them. And the other 2 races that I picked in this 4-race league are Monza, which I think is a safe bet, and Zandvoort. Interestingly, Zandvoort at this point, there's news of it being back on the F1 calendar for 2020, and there I just dive bombed by accident. And I didn't give the place back because why bother? It's an AI car. It doesn't have feelings that are going to be hurt. Well, apparently it took a swipe at me, so maybe it was a bit angry. But yeah, it's just sort of playing with the camera angles and seeing what's interesting. I wasn't sure if the cockpit view would be fun to watch, because it's not a normal view you would see on TV, but it's obviously very easy to do in a sim race. Here I just didn't want to go for that because I thought it was going to end in disaster, so I backed out, lost a bit of time. But there's no point in trying to get the AI in the corners really if it's safe to get them on the straights like that when they're slow. They're really slow on that straight, but then at this corner suddenly they speed up so they can come back by you. But at least that's makes for some side-by-side racing. And there's this really long straight, which I think it's the only part of the track that I don't really care for, because it's just boring, there's nothing there that happens. And here you see the smoothness of the AI cars compared to me. I couldn't remember what button it was for the tear off, so there's bugs on the screen. You can see the car bumping all over the place and shaking. I thought this was a good shot. Here's me building a lead, and then I'll just wasting it just by spinning. These corners feel so slow to me that I would try and go a bit too fast and then just end up spinning. And that first corner, I don't know how to take that. I always overcook it a bit. This was a stupid mistake. I just got onto the grass and didn't want to not put the throttle down. So I managed to spin myself and lose 2 places, and then went looking for what camera angles would look good on YouTube. So I recorded that a couple of times. I think that might have been one of the better angles. You can clearly see what I lost there. And the default car in 4th. And then the classic, they go slow here, so I do the overtake and then they try and get back in at the corner itself. I didn't really take any notes for the highlights. I just threw the thing together. If this was an actual league, I'd take notes of what lap this happened and corners and kind of put them together with a bit more of a narrative. So I got myself into 1st, and then, yeah, that was it. I'd lost the lead earlier and then regained it, so that was Istanbul. I didn't really care for a lot of the default camera angles, so I was looking for a lot of custom ones. So default got 4th in that race, so I got 1st. There's default again in there somewhere. Is it on pole? I'm at the back. Yeah, default's in 1st. For some reason it put me in the back row. Very often you can dive in at the start against AI in this game. So I've got 5 laps to get to the lead, so there's no point in diving in like I did just there and cutting a corner. I didn't give the position back because it's just AI, but I wouldn't do that in a real league. It's a bit cheeky. And here they are a little bit sluggish, so it gives you an opportunity to get by. So I'm up into 4th, I think. I'm not very good at S corners, one that leads into another, so I tend to lose a bit of time there. And then I just skip ahead to the next highlight, which would be getting into 3rd. And there's the default car, my rival. I got bumped a bit by the AI. A little tap there. Yeah, I just get out of shape sometimes. It's a tricky pair of corners there. I try to carry speed through. I'm really bad at remembering corner names. And then yeah, just easily sailing by on the straight, getting into 1st position. And then to record this bit, I had to, I had to press the button for my shadow play to say that, and as I was pressing the button I went off track and then managed to spin getting back on the track, stupidly. So I lost the position there, all 2. So the rest of the recording is from a replay, which isn't as smooth. So now I've got 3 positions to try and get back in a couple of laps. It was an awkward moment. I was going to try braking late, but then that happened. So the AI are bumping each other, which you don't usually see. and I couldn't get by them for a while, so I just had to kind of stay with them and wait, and then when a good straight comes up, then get by. So I think this was the final lap. I've only got one more place to make up to get the win, and again I'll just get out of shape. If there a gap there didn't exist, braking a bit too late. It was the last lap and I wanted to get that place, so I was being aggressive. And just, I don't think that's going to work, so back off and wait for this straight and do it here. And again, playing with the camera angles, see what looks good. And here they bunch up a bit because I'm slow through this bit compared to them. And there I am going in for the win. I can't tell the default is second or third here. No, third. And then a gap to the rest. I thought that was a fair angle. Something you wouldn't see if it was on their default TV camera view. So then the final race, which I've run the first three. So Zandvoort, luckily I get the second position, but AI start instantly, and of course it would get default the pole position. Didn't do much practice for this. I did like a couple of laps per track. So I wasn't really up to speed with Zandvoort. The last time I raced on it was years and years ago, so I couldn't really remember the corners, which is a little bit important, to be honest. And then I ended up braking a bit late. There you go. So giving a position away and then forgetting about the next corner. So slammed into the back of an AI and took a bit of damage. And initially I thought I had lost my rear wing because I saw something fly off. This was when I broke a bit late, and then in the crash you'll see something flies off just there. I thought that was my rear wing, but it turned out not to be critical. And again, just looking for fun camera views for incidents like this. And you see rejoining last. So at least I had the rear wing on, but the problem was, as you might have guessed, there was a little bit of suspension damage. And when I say a little bit, I mean I had to like the wheel over to one side to try and go straight. So I was just not able to put the power down. But I mean, it's a pointless race really. So I just put the power down all the time, don't really care. I'm already last anyway. And here you can see the car going a little bit sideways. That's how much damage it had. And I managed to break off a front wing as well. But I just thought it didn't matter. I'm just going to push the car. If it was an actual league race, I don't think I'd have gotten anyone's way trying to limp through. I think I might have retired. If there was any less damage, I might have taken it seriously and tried to catch up. Maybe inherit someone else that crashed. And that was it. So 3 wins, a 10th place, and the way I sorted the points was the first gets 10 points and 10th gets 1 point. So I managed to draw with default. So it's a good thing I went for all those positions, otherwise I wouldn't have won my own league against bots. And obviously I had to give myself the win because I, on the first race, got first position. So I think it was interesting. I certainly encountered things I hadn't considered before trying the league for real. Hopefully it was fun to watch. But yeah, that was the AI test league. So if I end up going ahead with the real league, hopefully I'll see you there.